Ambassador Walker's visit to Fredericksburg is not just a book signing. It is one of truth, healing, and deep meaning. For me, it's incredibly personal. During the war in Kosovo, I was a young mother, forced to leave our home, fleeing with my baby daughter in my arms. We were cold, starving, terrified, trying to stay ahead of the violence that was sweeping through our homes and our towns. One of the only sources of information we had was the Voice of America. We carried a small battery-operated radio, holding it up to the sky with the antenna pointing out, straining to hear any news from the outside world. The radio was our lifeline until the battery died. We were completely cut off, but the horror was all around us. One of the massacres we would later learn was about Recak, where 45 unarmed Albanian civilians, men, boys, and elderly, were executed. It was a tragedy that captured the world's attention because Ambassador Walker was there to witness it. And he had the courage to call it what it was, a crime against humanity. But tragically, it was far from the only one.
When I teach about the ethnic cleansing in Kosovo, our initial focus is obviously on Ambassador William Walker and how he brought the world's attention to the massacre of Recak. On a personal note, I'm overwhelmed and honored to be here today, as the ambassador is one of my personal heroes. I never dreamt I would have the opportunity to meet him and express my incredible admiration for his contribution to humanity. As my friendship with Anita grew, I asked her if she would be willing to share her story and personal experiences during the war with my students. By the way, several of my students are here today, and it is also their prom night, so it's amazing they're here. For the last 3 years, Anita has captivated them as she tells her incredibly personal story. Her willingness to share the most painful memories of that dark period has brought history to life and humanized an otherwise very distant experience for the students. They learn about the direct impact and horrors of ethnic violence, but they also learn about the resilience and hope that can emerge from such darkness. Anita's guest lecture is the highlight of the academic year, and one that leaves an extraordinary lasting impression upon the students. Many of them visit her cafe to see her pictures of Kosovo and to let her personally know just how much her story has meant to them. I would like to close with a few quotes from my students written to Anita after her visit. One student said, "As a child of 2 immigrants also facing persecution, your story has a deep connection to my parents' own experiences. I know raising children as an immigrant is hard, but I think your daughter has a truly tough and resilient mother. I will keep you in my college journey." Another student stated, "Thank you so much for speaking to us. As a child of an immigrant and a young mother, it touched my heart. I'm very grateful and privileged to hear from a survivor. I will think of you and your daughter frequently as I pursue my political science degree." And lastly, a student who herself has experienced ethnic difficulties stated, "I love hearing stories of other survivors. They can't silence us, and you're totally right. We belong in places they don't want us." When you share your story, it brings perspective to those families and people who have not had to go through it. You bring sympathy to our community. Thank you, Anita. We are incredibly fortunate to have you as a leader in our Fredericksburg community.
Years later, I made it to Fredericksburg. The city became my sanctuary. I rebuilt my life here, opened a small business, and raised my daughter in freedom. Paying it forward is my obligation. It is how I honor those who didn't survive. It is how I say thank you for the freedom, the safety, not going to bed hungry, and the second chance I was given. Today, Kosovo and Fredericksburg are forever connected, not just through my journey, but through our shared belief in truth, justice, peace, and the power of one voice to make a difference. To Albanian people of Kosovo, Ambassador Walker is our hero, and to all of us today, he is a member that standing up for what's right can change the course of history. It is my deepest honor to welcome the man whose voice carried across oceans and borders, even reaching a mother hiding in the mountains with a dying radio. Welcome, Ambassador Walker.
I can't remember a single one of those meetings, some of which have been huge, in New York City, for instance, in Chicago, in other places. I don't think I have ever been in a room where there are so many what I call gringos, people who are American citizens and have really nothing to do historically or from their family with the Albanian cause, the Albanian nations, the various parts of the Albanian diaspora. So to come to Fredericksburg, which I have always thought of as a historic Virginia city, great history during the Civil War and that sort of thing, to come here and find a community of Albanians, Kosovo Albanians for the most part, but Albanians sitting next to each other with families from the American diaspora who happen to live in Fredericksburg. I just find that inspirational. I really do. And so I express my appreciation to the city of Fredericksburg, to the mayor, the former mayor, and obviously to Anita for bringing the two groups together. I'm not a hero. I really am not a hero. What happened at Recak, as was vividly described by Anita, was not the first, nor was it the last. There were massacres before, much bigger. There were massacres after. There was the incredible oppression and putting down of the 95% of the population of Kosovo that were Albanian. Ethnicity was Albanian. The government in Belgrade, and I really want to emphasize, when I talk about Serbia, I'm talking about the government in Belgrade, not the Serbian people. The Serbian people, especially the ones in Kosovo, they suffered just as badly from being ruled by a dictatorship, a cruel dictatorship in Belgrade. Slobodan Milosevic, the cabinet, the Minister of Information, Propaganda, who is now the president of Serbia, and is still putting out the story that Recak was a fake, that Recak was a lie, that Walker was employed by the CIA to go there and do this. I'm delighted to find a fellow ambassador here this afternoon, and she would know that we go out as ambassadors. We don't go out as representatives of Langley, of the CIA, nor of the Defense Department. We go out to tell the State Department, and through the State Department to tell the U.S. government what is happening. What are the people going through in that particular country?